I mean, have you watched these
Yep.
two players play before? Like, um, it's going to be a pretty balanced game in terms of skill level. Both of them are, I think, on similar kind of skill. Um,
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them play a little bit. I haven't looked at all the matches at the tournament, but I've seen most of them, and I think they're definitely on a similar level, I would say.
yeah,
Obviously, there's a bit of a rating advantage to Feathery. Not much of one, but a little bit. But from seeing Angel play, especially versus Sour Lemon,
yeah,
I think I was a little bit surprised, actually, about how well he played. I think from what he showed in against Sour, I think he might actually have a very good chance here to,
yeah.
despite
Okay,
a little bit of a rating
yeah,
difference
I
back
agree.
from.
So let's they're playing their game now. Start. Um, yeah. So as you say, it's going to be a interesting game, seeing how they've played against previous people. So yeah, so Anshul is playing white, with February playing black. Um, Anshul is pulling the basic move, I guess. Um, oh,
Uh,
quite an interesting start from February right there.
Let me see. Can you quickly send the game so I can?
I sent it, I think. If you check,
Oh
the
yeah,
chest, yeah,
it's that one.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
yeah. Don't know. I mean, they've only just started. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
looking,
this is actually this is very nice actually. So this is so obviously uh, Angel is playing white, right, and he played d4 as the first move, but then they transposed into the Caro-Kann with the c6 d5 defense from black, and then with f3, this is actually something called the Caro-Kann fantasy variation, which is probably my favorite opening in chess overall. So it's gonna be fun to see how they play.
yeah. Just realised I forgot to put the flags on the last game, so I've put the flags on for this game, but oh well. Um, so yeah, so interesting start. I mean, again, like I was saying earlier, this feels like it's going to be a more balanced game than the previous game with 6-6 and Division.
Yeah,
Um, they're both playing interesting moves. It feels in terms of it doesn't look as if anyone is winning per se.
yeah. It's this is actually due to the way that there have been a lot of pawn moves thus far. Uh, they've kind of opened up, especially for white here. There are a lot of squares opened up for white that could perhaps be taken advantage of for black if black gets his pieces out. But at the same time, as you said, this is definitely very even and actually quite a fun opening with
Yeah, it looked like I've
especially the
never,
way
yeah, I've never
that white
seen
gets his
that.
pieces.
I've never seen that opening when I play my games. So it was quite an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah, this is actually this is a very rare a very rare version. Caro-Kann isn't a that common of defense regardless, but especially this version of the Caro-Kann defense, the fantasy variation is very rare.
Yeah, yeah. That was quite an aggressive bishop from February, wasn't it? But Anshul took it again.
Yeah, so Feathery traded his bishop for Anshul's knight, and now he trades again in the center here by taking the d pawn. Uh, where I just expect Anshul to take back with his c pawn as well,
Yeah,
and we're actually gonna see quite a strong center here for Anshul, having both d4 and the e4 with his pawns.
it's quite nice. On the other hand, it's quite nice that February has both his knights in reasonably good positions as well. Oh,
Definitely. Oh, and he takes with the bishop actually. That is actually surprising. Okay,
little trade there.
he they trade back.
Oh, damn.
So this means that, as you see, obviously, Feathery was able to take back the pawn with his queen, but there are still some good ways here for Anshul to win something back from this pawn, because now, as you see, on the left side of the king, and on the queen side, there are a lot of squares there that are open for Black's king, where it's possible for Anshul to perhaps move his bishop out to check him on b5, and then it could get quite spicy in terms of what actually happens.
Yeah, they both need to develop their castles, don't they?
Yeah, they should also be looking into getting their king castled in general,
Oh,
because
damn.
okay, that's an interesting move right there.
Quite a bold
So
move from Anshul.
yeah, so now Angel obviously with that move threatens something like perhaps queen to c7, or
Do you think they're gonna trade queens?
I don't know. It's difficult to say. I think obviously something that you often taught when trying to learn chess is that you should often try to keep your queens on the board if you're down in material, whereas if you're up on material, you should trade your queens.
Yeah.
And in this position, no one is really up very significantly, so I don't think Feather will actually look to trade here. I think Feather might just look to move his own queen and just continue the game like that.
Yeah. It's taking a little while for February to make a move here.
Yeah,
But I mean, to be fair,
it,
he's got
it
the time advantage over Anshul anyway, so he's got the time to
definitely
mull over this.
definitely Anshul took quite some time on some of those earlier moves, but the time now is very even again. And
Oh,
okay, so he goes. I was considering this move e5 where he defends his queen, but now what this does perhaps is open up some opportunities for Angel's queen perhaps to start trying to get into Feather's Feather's own defense.
do you think he's gonna try pick off some of those pawns?
I think it's very possible. What I could also see being very possible is that which I almost think would be optimal here is something just play take your bishop and play it out and check the king,
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
start getting some pieces out.
Yeah, Anshul could check the king and then get that one advantage over February in that regard. But we'll see if he notices that move as such. Again,
Yeah,
I'm still surprised that both of them haven't. Oh, he does it.
go for it.
There you go. I I
Let's
I
go for it.
I'm surprised both of them still haven't developed their castles. Um,
Yeah, yeah. But let's see now. We could perhaps see. No, I thought we could perhaps see some castling, but no. We see a knight move here, going for the pawn on d4, which could perhaps win back the pawn that Anshul lost a few moves ago.
yeah,
But now Feather goes for a very similar check to what Anshul did
yeah.
just
What
the other
Anshul
move.
tried to do, but I mean, I guess he can use that knight again, or move like that. There you go. It's another way of doing
Yeah,
it.
the main issue with that is now that obviously he can't castle his king anymore since his king has moved, and this might mean that Anshul will have to spend a couple moves to try and start getting his king to a corner and get his king a little bit more safe.
Yeah,
Because often a king in the middle is could potentially end up being in danger of being attacked. At the same time, uh, Anshul and Feathery have traded their queens, so there aren't that many pieces that can actually attack the king right now for black.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but it does feel like Angel can risk that king moving around a bit, seeing as it's literally only castles and a bishop that really threaten the king.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they continue trading or what they're gonna do. Because at the moment, if they go into an endgame, Feather will be up one pawn, but it will still be very even and not at all clear who will actually win the endgame, and
Yeah,
it will come a lot down to technique.
yeah. I mean, it does look as if this game, compared to last game, is going to be a lot closer in terms of who's going to win. It doesn't look as if there's any kind of likely checkmate anytime soon.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see how Ansh will handle this. So he did take the pawn on d4, but Feather very quickly now found the idea of bishop to c5, where he pins the knight to the king, which forces Anshul now to defend the knight in some way, which he did.
Yeah. I've just noticed we have 8 people watching this live stream. So thank you all for coming.
Wonderful, wonderful that all the chess lovers are here,
Yes, indeed.
early or late, depending on
Yeah.
where you live.
Yeah, so what just happened here? It's interesting the positioning of Anshul's castles, the fact that they can bounce off each other um, in that regard. Um,
Yeah, that's also a very important concept that can be very strong, where you have your knight, your rooks, kind of protecting each other,
yeah,
which
parallel to
will,
each other, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They'll be it can be very strong, like this, where his rooks are just doing a lot of work here.
yeah,
But okay, now again we see another trade of pieces here, and now there are so few pieces on the board. It's going to be difficult for a player to checkmate the opponent just using a knight or in Angel's case a bishop and two rooks.
are we gonna trade their castles here?
They might, if they do, it's gonna be interesting to see how their endgame skills are, because often the newer you are, the probably less kind of endgame knowledge you have, because often lower rated games end before you get to the end game,
Yeah,
and we'll have to see. I have no idea how their end game skills are. I think most games in this tournament even haven't actually gone to the end game,
yeah.
uh,
I,
and
I mean,
here
both of
they're
them.
completely even on material as well.
Yeah, I mean, both of them losing their queens quite early on has meant that late game is going to be quite hard for both of them, really, isn't it? Like you say.
Exactly. Yeah, I think if you were watching two grandmasters play, I think this would be pretty much an immediate draw.
Yeah,
But we aren't watching two grandmasters play, so that we kind of don't even know what's gonna happen. It like depending
interesting
on
move
how
from
well they
there.
know their end.
Interesting move that February made. I was going to say to Anshul to take that knight, but now it's pinned. Oh,
Okay, so they're trading again. Now the thing here that I would say Angelo perhaps has in his advantage here is the pawn on e5 is the most advanced pawn on the board. So if Angelo is possible to kind of get that pawn a little bit further up to where it's gonna be hard for Feathery to stop it from being promoted,
yeah,
then I think Angelo can have a very good shot in this game.
yeah. I mean, it's still like as of right now, it still feels very balanced in terms of where we are. It doesn't look as if either of them are gonna propel to victory right now. But as you say, looks as if Anshul is making good progress in
Yeah,
positioning. Interesting knight move. Sorry, king move. I mean.
yeah. I actually really like this because Angelo obviously never got his king castled, but it never became a problem since they traded so many pieces. And now at the end of the game, the kings are actually one of the most important pieces because it's very good. It's very easy to use it to go around and defend your own pieces, attack your opponent's pieces, and use it to kind of gobble up the pawns around the board.
Yeah.
But what's also important here, I do like. I think Angel has some good chances, and I would probably prefer his position. But at the same time, if you look at the time situation, Angel is down 1 minute on the clock.
Yeah, yeah, that is a very good point. There's a whole minute, pretty much, just under a minute, that Feathery has on Anshul. Um, and this is where Feathery can kind of waste his time as such to try and think of the best move possible.
Yeah,
Um,
I I don't know really what if I like that because in these situations, what I would recommend to players is just don't think too much about your moves. Try and make sure that your opponent gets into low time, and then your opponent will eventually mess up somehow.
yeah, that was an
Now he
interesting
does,
move as well.
yeah. So he does see here that his pawn on f6 is being attacked by Anshul's rook, and he has to defend it, which he does. So
Yeah,
that's really good. Now, at this point, it's very much just gonna come down to who is able to kind of just get this to victory. It's gonna be difficult to checkmate them as it is right now. So I think it's gonna really just come down to who is able to get their pawns to the end of the board and make a queen.
yeah. Do you think it could potentially come down to time? Do you think that one of them could lose on time?
Mm, I think it's possible, but I think it's a little bit unlikely. I think the odds are that someone might mess up due to being low on time, but I don't think they're gonna actually end up on no time at all.
Right.
But we'll see. I don't. It, I have honestly no idea how their time management and the end game at this point really is,
Yeah.
since it's kind of unexplored territory where we haven't really seen the players be in this position before.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of valuable pieces that both of them have, like Feathery still has that knight still lurking around and that castle,
Yeah,
compared to Anshul, who has that still has the castle and a bishop. Um, I don't know
yeah,
how much that will play into the game, but it does look as if Anshul has better pieces potentially in terms of their skill level.
yeah. Often at higher levels, you usually say that bishops are a little bit more important than knights. They're both worth as equal amount of points, but bishops are a little bit better. Uh, but at the same time, although bishops are perhaps a little bit better, knights are very tricky because they can jump in so many different directions, and it's difficult to actually, especially when you're low on time, keep track of your opponent's knight. And
Yeah,
I kind of like the fact that Feathery does have the knight because it opens up potentials for blunders.
yeah.
Now we do see here a repetition here where Angel goes for the check and moves his rook back.
Anshul really needs to look at that time, but he has. He's just about to reach the 1 minute time compared to February has. There you go. He's under 1 minute now, so he now needs to think strategically about the time that he has, I guess, and what he can do in this time.
Yeah, this could come down to a time scramble, and while I do like Angel's position, his time is just making it difficult here.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah. Oh, interesting. It's quite interesting how both of them are playing their. Well, I mean mainly Anshul, but he's playing his king quite aggressively in a way.
Yeah, yeah, I really like it. His king is doing a lot of work here, whereas Featheris is just sitting quite safe.
Yeah. Oh, Anshul, you're on the 30
30
seconds now.
seconds.
This is
This is getting dicey. He just At this point, you just at this point when you get to below 30 seconds, you just you can't really at this point calculate
Oh,
what's the best thing to do. Oh, and he takes
it's
with the
looking
pawn, and
bad.
I think taking with a pawn there might be the GG because now Feathery has the passed pawn and he's about to get a queen as well.
Yeah, that queen.
And in the end, that's kind of just down to the time here that Anshul just wasn't able to
It was the early game. We
see
talked
these
about
things
it
in time.
earlier. How in the early game, Anshul wasted quite a lot of time, um, compared to February, who had that kind of privilege of having quite a lot of time early
Yeah,
game.
exactly. I
It's
think that's
literally
kind
down
of
to
the
10
danger.
seconds now. 10 seconds. I don't know what.
Yeah, it's difficult here for him to really do a lot of things.
Yeah,
And now that his rook is off, I think
it
it's
looks
just
like it's game over here. I don't.
yeah. And
Black
there we
one.
go.
I mean, yeah, I mean the reason why Anshul lost, as we've said, is the time and how scarce he was with time, pretty much from the beginning. I can't quite remember whereabouts he lost that time, but he made a good go at it,
Definitely, it was a
and
very
yeah,
exciting game. I think.
yeah. In the chess chat, Anshul is admitting that uh, his time management wasn't the best. Uh, so we're gonna
Yeah,
we're gonna go for a short break now, before the finals. And the finals are gonna be 6-6 versus February. So we're gonna mute ourselves for the time being whilst we, uh, go for a toilet break or whatever. And we will be back shortly for the final.